and we're back here on CiTR Radio. This is Stranded, the Australian Canadian music show, and very extra special guest today. I'm joined by Sparrow Grace, who is visiting from Alberta in Canada. And Sparrow is a wonderful singer. She is part of the Kirtan movement. Kirtan is devotional singing that comes from India and has quite ancient roots, and it's a very heart-centered approach to singing and playing music. And Sparrow is part of the real resurgence of that tradition that's taken place in North America, which of course started, I guess, in the 60s. Sparrow, hello.
Hey.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This is really great. I don't often get people really in the studios. This is a real treat.
Thanks.
So Sparrow, you are from Alberta, which is it's an unlikely place for someone to come from who is deeply embedded in this bhakti movement of Kirtan. How did you first discover it?
Well, my first experience with Kirtan itself would have been in one of my yoga teacher trainings in Nelson. I remember we had an evening where a gentleman basically came in and shared some. It was Kirtan. It was a call response collective experience of mantras or music in Sanskrit. So that's where I was first exposed to it, and then I spent some more time in an ashram very nearby to Nelson, Yashodhara Ashram, and they have a gathering every evening, which involves singing in that way as well, in all of it.
How much was music a part of your life at that time, like public performance? Were you already kind of...
I was dabbling, I'm a music therapist as well. That's my training and my profession. But so I had done a year of music performance in Edmonton at the U of A. And my mom had read an article just about this thing called music therapy and music as a source for, I don't want to use the word healing necessarily, but just remembering or revealing or returning to wholeness, basically, or uncovering things about human nature. And that really appealed to me. And when I'm quote unquote performing, that's when I feel most comfortable, is when I'm not necessarily there to entertain. Like it's a slightly it's very similar, but to me it's a slightly different perspective. And that's what I really love about doing things that blend in Kirtan, which is more of a collective experience, in that the audience becomes more actively participant. Even if it's simply through listening, there's an intention or an expectation that there's active participation happening. Exactly.
Yeah. Even like I've attended kirtans here on like Friday nights, whatever, like at the end of the week, where I'm like, you know what, I'm so tired, I just want to sit here and listen.
Yeah.
And I didn't even sing, and it's like you feel part of it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I've been exploring that concept quite a bit, especially this last time around, and just how that active listening is really, for me, it's what I love. And it is fun to play in venues where people are just, they're dining and and that can be great. But what is most rewarding for me personally is when there's that energetic, it's like a loop. And the environment for Kirtan seems to really foster that somehow. There's like a container, or like the intention is the only word I can think of, not necessarily expectation, but it's like we're coming here to participate in something sonic vibration, whether we're singing or listening or not. It's like an energetic thing we're sharing. And
which can only lead to a positive outcome. I've been reading a bit about some parts of the rock world in the 90s, and like there were some of the sort of new metal bands who would play these big festivals, and they knew they were deliberately revving people up in a negative way. It was quite focused, and they'd feed into that negative energy,
right? And
people would literally get hurt in these mosh pits. And this is the different. That is a sharing of something, but it's a different energetic. It's
interesting because I do believe. I mean, it's not all, as one of my friends would say, Care Bears and rainbows necessarily either, right? Like the idea, and I've come away from kirtans absolutely raw, if you want, like, so not necessarily. And I've also come away from kirtans completely blissful and high, and so it's like, it's not necessarily to me about finding that quote unquote high blissful space all the time. It's about connecting, being as real with what's happening, and in some way moving and shifting. And there is a difference, and I've been exploring that too in my own processes of getting in a negative emotion and looping and spinning and building it, versus in experiencing a quote unquote, and I'm just labeling them as negative, by the way, but like a quote unquote negative emotion, and exploring it, letting it move, letting it be, as opposed to like you said, amping it up. And I'm interested in that quote unquote shadow, and how we can use vibration to not reject it, but to like let it be what it needs to be in some way.
That makes absolute sense. It's just a realistic way of looking at things.
Sort of, yeah. I haven't figured it out yet, so I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But for me, it's like I use a kirtan session to bring my stuff to it. And so it's like, even if I'm experiencing things that feel painful or challenging, it's like, well, put it into the music. Or Jayutal, who is also a relatively well-known kirtan artist from the States, he often says, you're crying out when you're singing to this part of yourself that has wisdom, or an essence of yourself that perhaps has some wisdom around how to move this.
Before we get into any further discussion, let's hear a tune straight up. This is Sparrow Grace, and I'm not sure exactly what she's going to sing. This is exciting, but
I'm not sure either. Actually.
Yeah. I like these spontaneous interviews. In any event, we have Sparrow Grace. She has an acoustic guitar, steel string, and she's going to be doing some, one song first, and then we'll get back into chatting, and we'll see.
Okay, well, I think I'll just start off with something relatively gentle. And this, what I've been doing more and more is attempting to blend some of the songwriting that I do with the mantras. So this is a mantra with some English as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Now's the time, step into the light. Lift the illusion of wrong and right. At the edge of your precipice, gaze at the dawning of your bliss and shine. You are the light, just shine. You are the light, shine. You are the light, oh, shine. You are the light. So spread your sacred wings, rest in the current that the Spirit brings, and fly, fly so high, 'cause you are the light from the other side. Just shine. You are the light, oh shine. You are the light, shine. You're the light, oh shine. You are the light. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Shine, you are the light. Just shine, you are the light. Shine, you're the light. Now shine, shine, you are the light.
Hi, everybody. This is Fred Penner on the radio waves, saying a big hello to CiTR 101.9. Listen, sing along.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. For listeners who are unfamiliar with, can you speak to the Gayatri?
Yeah. It's one of my favorite mantras. I say that about them all, but it's basically a prayer towards the light and inviting the light to infiltrate various levels of consciousness, physical, mental, astral. The word savitur is used, and that is an element of the sun, basically. So when we're doing Surya Namaskar or sun salutations in the original text, and that's one of the lines as we're saluting Savitur, which is, I believe, the brilliance of the sun. And for me, it's just asking that the shadows that we were speaking of before be illuminated by the light, and in this case, it's the sun.
It is a mantra that I do myself, and it's so cool to hear it incorporated into a song. And you know, the word that came to my mind when I heard you playing was anchoring. It's like writing a song that's deeply personal and emotional, and it could be coming from pain or whatever, but it's like to incorporate that, to me it's like anchoring into something that's so deep and transcendent and beyond your own, whatever your own individual emotions are at any given time. It's sort of like bringing it back to something that's eternal and always there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just so cool to incorporate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I really feel, for me, there's something that can move from a different place when I'm chanting mantras, and I've had that feedback too. People have said, wow, it's from, there's many different reasons why mantras and Sanskrit works the way it does, but one of the ideas is that these mantras have been chanted for years and years and years, and so there's a bit of an energy behind them, because energy once created is there eternally. And so in chanting these words, in some ways we're accessing that thousands of years of people chanting, not just sort of randomly, but with an intention. May I recognize that I am the light, like, let me shine. And so to chant these words that are sometimes sound nonsensical, I can feel into that space more, and then to add in the songs, like you said, it adds a personal dimension. There's a bit of creative expression, and somehow makes them more accessible to the public.
That's true, because let's face it, we are living in a Western context here. Mm-hmm. We're all living lives that are less than ideal in many ways, but we can incorporate this knowledge from the East into it.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm definitely not a traditionalist kirtan. There are many beautiful traditional kirtans, and each has its place, I believe. One style is not necessarily better than another style, and in that it offers a different spin on a practice. Just like there are different yoga teachers, just like there are different teachers, just like, we all have our own personality. Yeah, just for me, that's what needs to come through, and I don't want to pretend that I have studied for years in a classical or traditional perspective, which would be wonderful, but I haven't done that yet. So
there's Kanan Dasi is someone who's
exactly.
exemplifies that because of her very unique upbringing.
Yep.
And she's so gracious to see her and to talk to her, and you don't get the sense that you can't do it just because she's doing it to such an incredible ability.
Yeah.
That anyone can do it. And even just looking at your chords, you know, me being a beginner guitarist for a year, and I look at that and it's like, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
It's amazing. Yeah. Wow. So we're talking with Sparrow Grace here. She is a practitioner of kirtan singing, which is relating to bhakti yoga that comes from India. It's a yoga of devotion, so it's heartfelt singing. It's connected to deep traditions in India, but is done a lot here in North America. Time for another song?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Another song here from Sparrow Grace with her acoustic guitar here in the CiTR studios. Beautiful music here.
Let's do... Wow, so many choices. A song I performed at Kirtan Vancouver, actually. It is, again, a song and a mantra. And the song is called Life is for the Living. And it's one of the first songs I wrote when I was on my first trip to India. Which is part of how I got into to chanting, actually. My yoga teacher, as I was leaving my 500-hour teacher training, I was like, what do I need to do? And he's like, yeah, teach asana, but, you know, you really need to sing. You need to do this and go for it. And I'm like, okay. So I bought some crazy Gibson guitar with a V, not a B, in Rishikesh. And so this was the first song I wrote. And I'm coupling it with a mantra to Krishna, which is the essence of Christ consciousness within all of us. And the one that it loves everything. So Govinda translates to be the lover of nature. Gopala is the lover of cows. So these are direct translations. Basically the lover, right? Conditionally or unconditionally accepts everything. Life is for the living. Take what you've been given and be wise. Be wise. It's different than you'd imagined. It's a gift wrapped up in a disguise. It's in a disguise. It's not what you thought. Truth cannot be bought, not with the currency that you carry. Could be easy. Life is for the living, so take what you've been given. Life is for the living now. Take what you've been given. Take it easy. Oh, take it easy. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda 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 Jaya Jaya. Govinda Gopala, Govinda Gopala, Govinda Gopala, Govinda Gopala. They say the path is long and hard. That's a story you can discard, it's an illusion. To walk your path with ease and grace, put a smile on your face, no more confusion, 'cause it's not what you thought. Truth cannot be bought, not with the currency that you carry. Could be easy now. Life is for the living, so take what you've been given. Life is for the living, take what you've been given. Life is for the living, oh, take what you've been given. Take it easy. Oh, take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya.
Hey, this is Noah from Christ on Parade, and you are listening to CiTR 101.9 FM in Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Oh, another stunning song there from Grace. Sparrow Grace. Sparrow Grace.
You can call me Grace.
Graceful song from Sparrow Grace. Here in the CiTR studios. This is Stranded, the Australian Canadian music show. Just again, so that was Gopala. Just a reminder of the
Govinda, which translates to be the lover of nature.
That's right.
And Gopala, so go is in Sanskrit is a cow. Gopala translates to be the lover of cows, which the cow is sacred for various reasons in India, but Krishna in particular really adored the cow. So both are names for Krishna. Reflecting
again of just like the immensity of time, like yourself, I've spent a bit of time studying yoga and philosophy and sort of comparing it to our Western life and traditions, learning the guitar now as a beginner, and you're playing these Beatles songs and stuff and the Stones, and to me that I feel connected so much to people in the short space of history of just 50 years of rock and roll, of like how many great people, or not so great, anyone who's learnt guitar on these songs, and that makes you feel connected and rooted. But this is something else entirely, the immensity of time, Hare Krishna, the Gayatri Mantra. I mean, these are things that have been
the Beatles sang Hare Krishna too.
Well, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
They actually are one of. As far as I know, one of the first to make this kind of a blend or a transition. They definitely spent time in Rishikesh. Actually, went to the ashram they spent time at. So this is what I'm doing is definitely not unheard of or new. But yeah.
That's. I mean, George Harrison was like.
There you go.
One of the first. Yeah. So it's completely complementary. I think it's interesting the time we're living in, and how the more and more people like yourself are stepping up and doing it as a real life. Like, what is your life like currently as a performer? What do you do? Whereabouts do you get around touring, and how often do you play, and what sort of venues, that kind of thing?
Well, there hasn't really been a regular. I mean, my life, the last 4 years I've been traveling. Like, I lived in Vancouver for 2010. And before that I was in India. After that I was in India and Indonesia. I spent a lot of 2011 in Indonesia, Bali. And then I've only been back in Canada since, it's been a year now almost, or just been a year. So I'm living in Edmonton at the moment. And so in terms of touring and traveling, I mean, I went back to Bali once, but it's been mainly in the West, like through Calgary and then through Kelowna, Kamloops, Kimberley, and Vancouver, Victoria. Sort of that, basically touring. Often in yoga studios. I love house concerts, and so that opportunity to just have an intimate space. I have played in bars. I have played at the Nam. I have, or that kind of setting. There's a really lovely restaurant / yoga studio in Edmonton called Nourish,
I've heard
where
about
I play
that.
regularly. every month or something like that. I'll do an evening there, and then we hold regular kirtans there. Where else? Like Rock Canvas in town here I've played at. Just sort of tends to be off the beaten track so far. But I've played at a few festivals, and I'm hoping to expand into the festival realm eventually, and just broaden.
And as far as recordings go, is there stuff we can find that you've recorded online? Yeah,
absolutely. So it's sparrowspirit.com is my website. Mm-hmm. That will link you to, I have 2 CDs. One that is currently in print, one that isn't in print. So the one that's in print is basically just all in Sanskrit. It was recorded in India, and it's called Sound Devotion. And you can find that at sparrowspirit.bandcamp.com or else on my website. The other one is also linked to Bandcamp, sparrowandadam.bandcamp.com.
Mm-hmm. Great.
It's all on the website.
Sparrow Grace has been chatting with us. She's been visiting down here from Edmonton, Alberta. And we've been graced with her presence because she's actually played live here as well in the studio. Mm-hmm. Maybe one more track to go out. Do you feel up to it?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll be saying goodbye with this last song here. Sparrow Grace, thanks so much for coming in. I've learnt a lot and got back in touch with something that means a lot to me. I've been studying, this tradition, but you ebb and flow. Your life pushes you in directions, and it's good to reconnect and experience it. So. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's always fun to connect more and share a story or two and find out what comes out.
For sure, yeah.
Awesome. So I'd like to share a song that, and by the way, these songs I'm kind of truncating a little bit. I tend, in the style and what we offer, I can offer a song for up to half an hour at the energy building, right? And this one, I'll figure out how to shorten it as well, but it was a song that I wrote when I first came back from my first trip to India and experienced going home to my birthplace called Peace River for the first time. And so it's called Home, and it's about being on the prairies, and the mantra that goes with it, the words Chitananda Rupa Shivoham, basically translates Chitananda as awareness, consciousness, and bliss. Rupa Shivoham is me, is my home, is my essence. The awareness of my bliss is my home, who I am.
Beautiful.
Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. The golden sea canola glows, kissed by a ray of sunbeam light that peeks through the backdrops of a blue-gray haze of cloud. Traveling down this road, each bump and curve now so familiar, but I can't seem to stay within the 2 lines laid out in front of me. So I reach my hand out the window, let the warm air caress my fingers, and I try to catch the wind that whispers gentle prairie tales. 'Cause I'm going home. Home is where I will be, to rest blessed eternally. I'm going home. I know, going home. So it seems I like to wander like a nomad within my